No, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed about that question, but you thought obviously it's good.
It's just all you need is some players to play with. I know you can't say that, but I'm saying it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a No Nonsense podcast. What a weekend, Will. The title race is still on. Arsenal are still fighting for this title, despite the PGMOL and the powers that be's best efforts to derail their third successive title push. Michael Oliver, Will. What a bastard. What a bastard.
I'm sure you saw the photo knocking around of him in that Newcastle kit. That's all his doing. This is his master plan, you see. I'm going to cost them the league, which is going to put them in bad form for the second round of the Carabao Cup semi-final. It all plays together.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is jokes a little bit, but I mean, after David Coote stuff, really, I mean, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. It's like...
You shouldn't have a picture of a ref in a kit, ever. You should be like, yep, you're banned from refereeing.
But like, who are these people then if they're not football fans?
Yeah, exactly.
Why would you become a football ref if you weren't a fan of football at any stage in your life? I mean...
You've got to get all foreign refs in. All of the Spanish refs should be in England. All of the English refs should be in Spain. That's how it should work.
Well, Brexit means Brexit will, so I don't know about there.
True.
You know? Well, can you imagine? Because like people make mistakes all the time, you know? So imagine if it was a Polish ref who made the mistake against Arsenal. It would be 10 times worse for that guy and his family. Because apparently Michael Oliver's family and stuff have been abused, and he's obviously quite recognizable, a lot of Arsenal fans. I don't know if you saw like the weaponized autism online where they were doing all the decision. He has, I mean, the numbers don't lie, I guess, but someone's gone back and looked at every sending off that Michael Oliver has made. He's made way more. He's sent off more Arsenal players than any other team. He's given more penalties against Arsenal than any other team.
He's done all of the red cards that we talked about. Like all of the hilarious ones, the kicking the ball away, the throw-in. Yeah. They're all him, which is very unfortunate.
The Trossard one, yeah. I mean, look, what we're referring to, of course, is the Lewis-Skelly one. Arsenal's latest star boy, Lewis-Skelly. Well, let's look at it, Will. You know, it was cynical.
Yeah, it was.
Is that part of the rules? Is it? I don't know.
We've gone through them before. I don't think it was ever a thing. I think it was just like very specific wording about like, you know, were you trying to harm somebody is all they really care about.
He didn't trip him. He didn't clip his ankles. You know, he kind of did.
He did.
Stood him.
Yeah.
If that's a word.
He was trying to trip him. He was trying to get a yellow card, but he mistimed it. And he did rake down his moving ankles.
Like he could have done his Achilles tendon.
Yeah.
You know, so in the same way that if you go flying in and you jump out of the way, or if you swing at someone and miss, it's still a red because, you know, the intent was there.
Yeah.
I guess. This obviously I don't think there was intent. I think it was very cynical. And I think we were talking about on the Ultra episode, the Benfica manager, Bruno Lage, was like, we should have kicked him on the way. We shouldn't let him run the whole length of the pitch. When Rafinha ran the length of the pitch in the Champions League and scored the goal. That's exactly what you're meant to do. That's what Bruno Lage was lamenting his person to do. It was like, you should have stopped him, don't let him run the length of the pitch. And Doherty was away. You know, he wasn't going to catch him. And yeah, it was a bit reckless. It was a bit like, you know, you weren't really in control of where your studs were going there. You're just kind of aiming your studs generally at his, like, you know, tendons.
Yeah.
It's like,
that'll stop him.
Yeah, it could stop him and it could hurt him. You mightn't want to. Your main goal is just for him to stop running. If you could ask him politely, say, hey, actually, can you not? And he did that. You would have done that, but you knew that wouldn't work. So he said, I'll just throw a leg at him. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to be overturned. I don't think it's going to be changed. I think, you know, there was enough in there that it's like it's not as... It wasn't a line not drawn by the VAR. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It was like, it's a grey area. It's up for debate. It's like, it was cynical. It was potentially dangerous. Thankfully, it wasn't from our point of view. It was Matt Doherty. But, you know, It was one of those bad ones, I guess, that we didn't mean to be bad.
Yeah, the PGMOL came out with a statement. One of the first ever, I think, non-apologies in history, where they're just like, lads, this one actually, everything was done correctly, to be honest, so relax. They said, during the game, the decision was checked and confirmed by Darren England with the VAR and PGMOL. Happy that Lewis-Skelly, well, not happy that it says here, deeming Lewis-Skelly to have committed serious foul play, which is like, I don't know if it's serious. It was foul play, though. And then, in the statement, they go on and say they're appalled at the level of vitriol directed at referee Michael Oliver on social media after the red card. But I feel like this is a turning point where the PGMOL is now putting out statements being like, you need to tell your fans to stop. You need to stop this. You're allowed to give out to us a lot of the time, but when we're doing things right, you can't be like sending the fans at us.
I don't know. I think it's a little bit of like they're using this one time when they've got it right to like. And by the way, the abuse is unacceptable. You know, because you can't say the abuse is unacceptable when you're like, but we are sorry for getting that completely fucking wrong. You know, so they're just like they're always going to abuse. It's always unacceptable, but you can't say it when you're wrong.
Yeah,
during an apology, and just not for nothing, the abuse is kind of a bit much. No one to hear it then, but when I think. Yeah, I don't know if you saw Mika Richards talking about it.
No, I did not.
He said it was the worst decision in the history of the Premier League.
Really?
Genuinely. He said it. He said it twice.
That's the worst decision I've ever seen in Premier League football history. Michael Oliver, yes, I think he's top. So he makes a mistake. Which we all make mistakes. But how on earth they could go to VAR, look at a screen, look at it multiple times, not even a split second to look at it, but 10 seconds, 20 seconds, multiple different angles, and they still think that is a red. And I don't like using the word disgrace because I feel like it's easy to throw that word out. But if you look at the magnitude of that decision, it was so poor, and then for them to double down on the decision, I just think it's shocking.
I don't fucking know. I like Gary Lineker and Alan Shearer, like just looking at him blank, like, yeah, we're making a lot of money off this podcast, so I'm not going to fucking upset anybody.
That
I don't know.
So mental. Like, remember again the one that really kickstarted it all when the original VAR tape released, where they announced on tape that they weren't watching and didn't know what was going on. That was way worse when they said nice process and all that. This is like, he fouled him and he got a card for it.
Yeah, it could have been yellow, but maybe I think most refs would have given the yellow, but like in terms of. It's the worst worst refereeing decision in the history of the Premier League. I think I don't know what that's about. And like I say, no one called up and no one brought up one of the many recent examples that just said, hey, it's a game of opinions. That's Mika's.
We say a lot of things. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, the two lads seem checked out. Maybe they're getting sick of the whole the banter they've been having.
Yeah. They're waiting for the Ballers League. They're stressing about who they're going to pick for the Ballers League.
Yeah, maybe they jumped the shark with the Ballers League. Now just the normal old podcast is not too boring for them anymore. Now Mika's trying to stir the pot here by saying crazy stuff.
He's no side man, I'll tell you that. That's what Gary Lineker is thinking.
Anyways, I don't know. I didn't think it was as bad as people made out to be in terms of decision. Could go either way. I think if it was a yellow, I would say fair enough. But it was quite cynical. I don't know if that matters. But
I think a lot of it is that it was just coming out of the Wolves box. So I think a lot of people were like, you can't give a red card to us back here. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
There's no danger. It's Matt Doherty.
Yeah, that's true. Like, there's a good way to go before they get the goal. It wasn't like you're last man back, stopping a goal through an opportunity. He wasn't, penalty. Yeah, I guess it is kind of rare to see it in the opposite end. To see red card that when it's not like an intentionally, like a punch or a kick or something like that. But yeah, Arsenal went on to win anyways, thanks to Lewis-Skelly against Dundalk, because Calafiori then came on in the shake-up.
Mm-hmm.
And this will maybe spur them on. Well, siege mentality. They're all against us.
I don't know. I think if siege mentality was going to kick in, it would have kicked in by now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like they obviously have had a few decisions against them this year, so maybe it's just a lot of that. This feeling of like, oh, again, another one. And like I say, it's borderline. Maybe I could see it being yellow, I could see it being red, but yeah, I don't think this was as bad. Like the one of like where they got like 3 red cards for kicking the ball away, and then no one else had regular cards since. Like that, okay, I get that, because we're just like you're on the wrong end of an initiative. That's all. You're just at the wrong end of the season. If you say those kicking the ball away tactics for now, who knows where you'd be in the league as it stands. I think there's a bit of that kind of conspiracy theories about Arsenal at the moment. I don't think this one was in the same category as the other decisions they've gotten against them this year.
No, definitely not. I do wonder now, obviously, with all of the stuff with Michael Oliver, will they, the way sometimes when a referee makes a terrible mistake, they're like, oh, he's been taken off the next game. I think a lot of times it's like, you need a break from social media for a few days. No more clips for you. I wonder will Michael Oliver be back on the next game? Seen as by the PGMOL statement, it's like, yeah, he was bang on. It was the correct decision. But it's just like, oh, you're inviting a lot of scrutiny in that next game he's doing.
Take him off front lines, give him a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, again, because it only happens to refs who've like made a bad decision. So it feels kind of like a punishment. So I think if you're Mike Oliver, like, why are you taking me off the games? I've done nothing wrong,
Just trust us, Mike.
So I think he'd be like, no, I don't need a break, actually. I'm a big boy. I've handled a lot worse, I think he'd be fine. And for him, he wouldn't want that, I wouldn't say. But yeah, look, he has made a few decisions against Arsenal, and now those stats are out there, so maybe that'll play in his mind.
Yeah, now he'll course correct.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Not long left to do that. I don't know. They might take off many games, but they might. I don't know if he's assigned to any Arsenal games yet, but if he isn't, I don't think he will be for the rest of the season. Let that one. Let people forget about the stats that are out there for a while.
Yeah, never good if you're a referee and someone's been compiling a list of times you've wronged them.
Well,
it's going to come out eventually.
I'm sure there's been like genuinely biased referees before, but I mean the stats are just at your fingertips. You can look it up so easily now. I mean, I know I was like weaponized autism, but like wouldn't take that long to do. It's all on transfer marks.
It's just the thought of doing it. That's what's meant.
Yeah, no, it's like, what's the day job, pal? What are you doing that you have this much time on your hands to do this? But I mean, Arsenal still second? I think so.
God knows anymore. It's a mess up there, I'd say now.
They are second behind Liverpool. Of course, they beat Ipswich 4-1 at home. They've seemed to get out of their mini slump, I think. Can we say that now? Is it too early to tell that?
Yeah, maybe too early to tell. I mean, Ipswich, it seems like they've beaten teams as well, but it feels like it's tough to judge any of the top teams when they play Southampton, Ipswich, Wolves, because it feels like you're guaranteed nearly 3 points.
But I feel like when you're in a slump, they're the teams you slip up against,
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
But yeah, they are on 53 points, 20 games played, game in hand. It's come up this week, next week, I think, against Everton.
So there's a game week next weekend as normal. Then there's a week of FA Cup, and then they play Everton after that week.
Yeah, they're still in the FA Cup, aren't they?
Yes, they are, yeah.
Because the quadruple is still
No,
on.
are they?
The quadruple will, of course.
Oh, yes, they are. Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still heard no one talk about it. Well, you're way out in front mentioning the quadruple.
Oh, it'll happen. It'll come.
And then, it's Liverpool, Arsenal. And then just a quick word, I think. Well, I don't know, we said it before the show, but Nottingham Forest got absolutely spanked by Bournemouth.
It's funny, like all of the analysis and punditry in the world, it doesn't mean anything. Anyone can beat anyone by any score.
No, that Bournemouth team is really good. And like I said, Nottingham Forest team is really good too. But who's your man for Bournemouth? Kluivert.
Yes.
Dear God, he's good.
Yep, unbelievable. We were talking about him before anyone else was.
Because he got a hat-trick of penalties.
Yeah.
Before. I'm like, that is a mental tough guy, because that's not easy to do. It's like the ultimate rock, paper, scissors with actual skill involved, Justin Kluivert, he must be up there with the Golden Boot this year, is he?
Oh, that's not a bad shout. I wondered. Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of players scoring goals, like more so than usual. Normally it's the same 5, and everyone else has scored 5 goals, 6 goals.
He got another couple of goals there. He's on 11 goals, so he's a bit to go now. But he's been very good. Semenya also is very good for them. I mean, that their whole team just like it feels like they're extremely fast. So much pace in that team, and they just paced through Nottingham Forest goal after goal, and had a couple of disallowed as well. They could have had more, like that kind of way. But having said that, they are still third, Nottingham Forest, and Bournemouth are 7th. Man City are up to 4th, Will, after their win against Chelsea, who are down to 6th. Remember, they were in the title there briefly.
It's tough to keep track.
It is. It's Newcastle, who I wrote off earlier on in the season, are in 5th somehow, and Aston Villa, who I thought were doing well, are down to 8th. So, it's changing. A lot of changes going on. A lot of football to be played, of course. A lot of those teams I mentioned in Champions League, Europa League, etc. Some are, some are. So there'll be more changes to this lineup, I think, before the season's out. But yeah, that Man City Chelsea game, that was a bad one for Chelsea. That was, I mean, obviously for the table itself, they have now been leapfrogged by Man City. But I think just, for their own confidence going into the rest of the season, it's a bad one to lose.
Yeah, because it felt like for the first few months of the season there, it was like, oh my God, it's all clicked. Chelsea have figured it out before anyone else. Buy all the players, give them 10-year deals. All the superstars will eventually gel together. Yeah. It doesn't feel, it feels like still they're a step below Liverpool, City, Arsenal. They just drop points. It feels like once or twice a month.
Yeah. Especially when they went a goal up as well. It feels like against a team that, what we were saying, they can't do it, Will. I was saying they go behind, heads drop, it's over. And I will say, if Cole Palmer had given a little bit of a ball to Jackson, or Jackson just hit it first time, one or the other, and they went 2-0 up, I think it would have happened again. I think the head would have dropped, and that would have been it for City. As it was, they didn't get that second goal. City came back, and it was Chelsea then who's going to heads dropped. Didn't have the answers.
Yeah, I wonder how much it plays into Cole Palmer when he looks across and sees Nick Jackson, who's had a pretty torrid few weeks in front of goal, I think. And it's that delay thing is where he goes, oh, should I go myself? No, I'll give it to him. Whereas, if Nick Jackson's banging him in every week, he goes, bang, here you go, without thinking.
Yeah, and it's a better ball. It's a slightly better ball because he hasn't had to look up and like, fuck it. No, well, look, it's the right ball to play. Let him make a mistake, Let him play himself off.
Yeah, I could hear, when I was watching that game, I could hear fantasy football managers around the world frantically transferring him out. That's it. I've had enough of him.
Although he got the assist for the first goal. A fortunate assist, right place, right time, a poacher's assist, you might call it. If you're a dork, maybe.
A classic poacher's assist there.
That's what we call a poacher's pre-assist. Just the right place, the right third place at the right time. It was the right place at the right time for Nick Jackson, thanks to a major boo-boo.
Yes.
By Man City new boy, who another one I called incorrectly. I said, well, he won't play. He'll go out on loan.
Yeah, because that's what happens with like 19-year-old, 20-year-old defenders. They don't just slot right into the Premier League challenging team. Yeah,
I mean, you might say, he's young. He's actually 21, February 29th. So maybe he's not as young as you think, folks.
Yeah.
Maybe you should know better.
Yeah, maybe you're allowed to say whatever you want about him.
Maybe you should listen to his coach, if he spoke English, that is, of course.
Of course.
Manage that as a manager. I mean, did you consider taking him off after 5 minutes?
Well, I have to learn Russian with Beko to communicate with him. He doesn't speak fluently, I would say, English, but he knows he make a mistake. Can I say, don't do a mistake? He doesn't want to do it, so we know that. The reaction for the mate was amazing, the staff, and especially I make a substitution for 2 reasons, mainly for the yellow card, not was for the mistake.
I mean, this is very un-City like. This is panic station stuff. You know,
Yeah.
You're buying players in January, just whoever's available. It feels like, you know, maybe they've been tracking them for a while and they want to bring them in 2 years' time or something like that. And they're just bringing up the timeline because they need them. But like, yeah, he made a bad mistake. He was on a yellow card.
Mm-hmm.
All the other City players were like, "No, it's all right, man. You know, keep your head up," kind of thing.
Never.
I'm sure he got what they were saying by their kind eyes. And obviously, he couldn't understand what they were saying. But like, that's a nightmare debut for him coming in and having to, like, you know, get over that immediately. All right, put that behind you, stud. You know, it happened the first 4 minutes of the game, but put that behind you.
No, it's not like everyone's watching. It's not like everyone biggest game of your life, probably.
Oh, for sure. This is where the generational wealth starts for this young man from Uzbekistan. You know, he didn't want to mess that opportunity up, but he probably wouldn't take it off if there was anybody else. You know, I think he eventually brought on John Stones, who I think is just like permanently injured. Like he's just always carrying some kind of knock. But yeah, he didn't have the best debut. But what do you think? Did you watch the game? Did you watch the highlights of the game?
So I was in I watched it, but I watched it in easily the worst way to watch football, as we talked about before. It was on in a pub I was in. So I was like, I'd glance over and I'd go, "Oh, he scored." You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, well, just Omar Marmoush, who we also were talking about, the other signing, did all right. Did okay. Probably as good as Julian Alvarez would have done, I would say.
Yeah, but that's the thing, isn't it? That's the big thing that you're always thinking of. It's like, yeah, but they already had this guy, basically.
Yeah. No, just the two of them, I was like, this is very on-City like over the last few years. You know, it's just, it's strange to see them make mistakes that other clubs would make.
Yeah.
You know?
And like, I'm sure they're good players, well scouted and stuff. They know all the ins and outs of them, but you can't help but it feels like, because of the prices and like them starting immediately, this feels like panic stations.
Yeah, well, and no, we're talking about a win that they got, you know, with these two players, but it just doesn't seem as a well-oiled machine as usual.
Yeah,
but I guess they have been distracted. There's no word on that, is there? On the City thing,
as if, man, they just spent 120 million quid.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm thinking. Sure, there's some kind of positive word that they've been clear or something like, yeah, make the deal. You know, the money's been released. It's in your account.
They definitely not panic stations, but they did make some changes. I don't know if you noticed this. They went back to a tactic that served them well last year, the year before. They started lumping it up to Haaland again. I think both of their second and third goals were from a long ball from Ederson that was knocked on to Haaland, and then things started happening from there.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a good tactic, especially if you have someone like Haaland up front. Like I was saying, I think Haaland at Arsenal would just do unbelievable numbers.
He would
you know,
be the greatest thing in the world. Yeah.
So like, if you have that kind of player play to his strengths, you know, people all last year, was it 2 years ago they won? No, yeah, 2 years ago they won the treble. That's all the talk was about. You know, this is not the Pep system. This is not how they want to play. You know, but it was like the combination of the control play plus that secret weapon was kind of unstoppable. You know, but they've seemed to have gone away from it because, like, okay, we've done the thing now. Now we can play how we really want to play, and it's not really like that. You know, but needs must, I guess. Like I say, they're fourth now. If they survive the charges, to finish fourth, rebuild again in the summer, it's like nothing happened. It's like this season everything happened, you know?
Yep. Pep has a new contract. Haaland's there for another 10 years. You just start again. Grand.
Just start again. It's all good. It's all good, baby.
I don't know if you saw at the end of that game, Palmer and Pep having a extended conversation as Pep likes to do with players. But they were talking on the pitch. It was very funny because I don't know how into it Palmer was, because multiple times Pep walked in front of him to kind of like cut him off. So, hey, stop walking away from me. And then they walked side by side down. So, but yeah, it did feel like he was like, hey, I'm talking to you here. Gary Neville said, Cole, you're getting played, mate. That was the title for the Gary Neville podcast I saw.
I saw that too. I saw that. I didn't click into it because I was like,
no, me neither. I said, fuck that.
So we've no idea what that's about. What do you mean by that? Well, for folks at home, maybe they can figure it out.
Yeah, my guess was he was saying that, you know, don't be playing up to the camera. Don't let Pep don't be seen talking to Pep like that and making it look like, oh, maybe he loves City still, or he's still thinking about blah, blah, blah. That's my guess. But I didn't watch because I saw, and again, as we talked about before, the Gary Neville podcast is literally half an hour of his immediate thoughts with no actual planning to it. They just put a mic in front of him as soon as the game is over.
I'm surprised he's still doing that, to be honest.
How many podcasts does one man need?
Well, maybe his contract isn't up, so he can't renegotiate it. So
That's
he
what
still
I think.
has to do it. But like, surely he doesn't need. Like, he's been talking for the whole game about Man United, no matter who's playing. Then right after the game, he gives more thoughts, and then like probably an hour later, he's headed off to the studio with Ian Wright and Roy Keane doing the overlap.
Yeah, an hour after that, he's doing the one on Zoom for America with Carragher as well, or that one.
Does
where
he?
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's the overlap, but for America. That's where, I don't know if you saw that clip that was going around of the wrestler Sheamus putting him in the sharpshooter.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that one actually. Yeah. Then do you still do stick to football, or is that the overlap? That's the same thing now.
The same thing. So that's it. That's the network. The overlap is a stick to football is a show on the overlap, I think.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's hard to get a grasp on the Gary Neville podcasting universe sometimes. But anyways, Cole Palmer didn't have the best game. And Pep wanted to let him know about it, think, or did he want to explain to him why you're not as good as Phil Foden? What do you think Pep was talking about?
That's what I was thinking when they're talking, and when Pep was very animatedly saying things to him. It's like, he left. Like, what are you saying to him? You shouldn't have left. You were right to leave. I'm sorry. What was he saying?
Well, the Madison was the Nathan Redmond one. Do you remember that whole thing? Like, what? Like, you giving Nathan Redmond advice? I think they probably beat them like 3-0, I'm sure, as well that day. I remember just telling them, you need to come in from the side. Or, like, I'm sure it's probably up there. I'm sure Nathan Redmond has spilled the beans at this point of what he said to him. But it is one of his. Maybe it's on his back. Will that's like a Pep staple. When he's feeling himself, he starts giving advice to opposing teams' players. Maybe he's back.
True, yeah. The most dangerous sign of all. The more annoying he gets, it's the pendulum from sad to annoying. The more annoying, the better Man City are. Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure he's got assurances from the City owners. Like, listen, it's not that bad. We're in fourth. Don't worry about it. And also we've won the case secretly. Don't tell anybody. We got away with it scot free. And now it's like
signed a teenager to make it look like we're in trouble.
So then the first thing does like, I'm going to give Cole Palmer a piece of my mind.
Guess what, Cole? We won the charges.
That's why he kept cutting him off. He was naming all the charges and how they beat them. No, I mean, look, I think, the City one is kind of uninteresting in a way, because when you take a step back, like, it has maybe been blown out of proportion a bit. They're fine, It's just their own standards. Chelsea, I did say a few weeks ago, I just didn't. The vibes were off, Didn't feel like they had it in them. Not this year, maybe next year. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised next year if they were to get together. Maresca was persistently asked, are you in a title race? And he said, no, please stop asking. And now, I guess, it's open and shut. You were right. They're not in a title race.
Clever man. He knew what he was doing.
He knows what he's doing. But yeah, I think he's done a good job all the same, no matter how their season ends. I mean, to say that be anywhere near top four would have been kind of crazy. That's their season. So, yeah, I think he's doing all right. A word on Robert Sanchez. I mean, that was probably one of the worst bit of goalkeeping I've seen since middle week with Wojciech Szczesny at the Barcelona game.
Yeah, and then before that, who was it? Was it Ramsdale who was out in the middle of the box as Ahmad was coming from the side of the box? He just rolled it by him.
Oh, yeah.
Not bad goalkeeping in the last 7 to 10 days.
I think Sanchez is an example of someone. He was at Brighton, and like Brighton were good. He was good, makes sense, sign him. But it's like, he probably made some mistakes at Brighton. But like,
how many people are watching? You just hear Brighton are good. Like Nottingham Forest, they're good, but you don't really watch them every week.
when he does that for Brighton, it's not a disgrace. When he does
Yeah.
for Chelsea, it is a disgrace. So like it's not going to probably make any headlines if he does that for Brighton. But like, yeah, he came running out for that Haaland chance, and then he knew, all right, I'm in the wrong spot here, and I'm in no man's land. And he stood there for about a second and a half in no man's land when he should have been immediately backpedaling because he wasn't going to get out to him. He just was like ball watching, and it was like, oh no, I am actually nowhere near the goal. Haaland had already looked up by the time it wasn't like he looked up and then chipped him. He'd seen him straight away. I could sense that he was still there. I'm just going to kick it over him. Yeah, it was. I think he is kind of a maligned figure at Chelsea as well, Robert Sanchez. I don't think he's. I think people are saying, I don't know how we got a keeper worse than Kepa. I keep seeing online. People are like, well, why did we get rid of Kepa? Well, this guy's even worse. But
it's mad. Like all the money they spent, all the players they signed, all the goalkeepers they've signed. And it's just they haven't got one yet. It's got to keep trying. Back in the summer, we'll buy 4 more. See how that goes.
It's tough to find a good keeper, to be fair. But I don't think Sanchez is the answer, unfortunately. We also had more keeper theatrics, I guess you call it, from Onana.
This was a mad one. People might not have seen this because I don't think this was actually shown during the game. This is a picture that was knocking around of Man United were taking a free kick, and Onana, he wanted to have his word of what they should do, but obviously he's very far back. He's not going to scream it from the back of the pitch, and he doesn't want to get caught in the hop either. So he said, "I'll go to where Amroim is and shout from there."
Yeah, it's a very strange picture. Maybe it is just a picture, a moment in time. Maybe he was getting a bottle of water and he looked up and he shouted back at somebody, but it does make for a very funny picture.
It tracks with him as well. He is a bit mad. You've seen him do mad stuff before. So yeah, I could definitely see him thinking like, I'll just go up as far as I can and start screaming. But they won't hear me. If I'm in the middle of the pitch, they'll definitely won't hear me.
Did you see for that free kick? I'm very sure it's the same free kick. Fulham were playing a bit of mind games.
Oh, really?
They didn't put someone on the ground.
I did see that, and they were made to pay.
And then Fernandes put it on the ground. He put it wide, just slightly wide. But I was thinking, if Fulham were thinking, right, everyone puts a man behind the wall. So no one goes underneath. So no one's practicing going underneath because they think everyone's put someone on the ball. So in this way, we're already protected because he won't be thinking about going on the wall because he's not practicing going on the wall. And then Bruno Fernandes looked at him and went, there's no one underneath the wall.
I'm going under the wall. I never get to go underneath the wall.
And maybe they're right because he didn't get it on target. So they're like, it worked. It's kind of high level stuff here.
It'll make them think though. You can't get away with that too many times because you're going to get a reputation for they don't put people behind the wall. Also, I thought putting people behind the wall was kind of just for show. No one ever goes under really.
Yeah, the most famous one I can think of is Ronaldinho goal from years and years ago where he goes on the wall.
Yeah, I think De Bruyne might have done it a few years ago as well.
Boy, he can hit a daisy cutter as well. De Bruyne, he's very good at going underneath the wall. But it's like people are jumping. But it's not dunking.
It's way harder.
Like there's a very small space from where and some people they jump, but they don't really want to get hit in the face. Like they kind of pretend to jump.
They turn,
yeah. There's not a lot of space there. You got to get the timing absolutely perfect to get it underneath there, and there's a very small space. And then, say, you can't just roll on the ground because the keeper will save that one. So you have to get a little bit high. It's harder to go underneath the wall. Is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if there's a need every time, but. Yeah, no, I just thought that was one of the more interesting bits from the game.
That was an awful game. That was one of the worst games I've ever watched.
I heard that, didn't see it, thankfully, but I heard it was bad.
It was bad. I think the first goal, the only goal, United scored in the 70th minute. Big, dirty deflection, ball sails in over the keeper. That was, I think, United's first shot on target. Up until that point, no team had had a touch of the ball in the opposition's box. And I don't think there was any shots on target for 80 minutes. It was just pass, tackle, pass. Nothing happened.
Damn.
It was awful.
But a crucial 3 points for Ruben Amorim, of course.
Is it?
Well, I guess they're all crucial. They're not getting them.
Well, yeah, that's true. Crucial for his job. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a lot of progress. I feel like he's waiting for the summer a little bit.
This is it. I mean, I do feel like we wanted the board to give the managers, back the managers. That was the thing for years. And they got Ten Hag and said, we will give you whatever you want. And we are paying dearly for it now.
Well, when Ten Hag first came in and they had the game against Brentford and the Butcher got mauled. I'd be like, this guy's too small for the Premier League. What the hell is this guy doing here? Why'd you sign him? And then there was the next game and they did badly. De Gea couldn't play out from the back. And he said, all right, well, I'm going to get sacked if I keep this up. Abandon this.
Get me everyone I know.
Yeah, until I can get more Ajax players in here, we can't play like Ajax. But, somewhere along the way, he never fully committed going back to his initial plan. Whereas Ruben Amorim is like, I'm going to do this till it works. Did you ever see those pages on Instagram? I saw a guy, he's like, Looksmaxxing until it works.
Yeah.
And he's mewing every day and doing hunter eyes and all that kind of stuff and like doing caffeine serum. And it's like just day 1, day 2. It's like he's on like day 22 of Looksmaxxing. He's like, he's pulling his teeth out from his face to give himself a chiseled jaw. It's like, there's like no difference at all. There's no notable difference. But he's doing it.
Someday you're going to look and go, I think it works.
Every day he gets up, he starts pulling the teeth out of his head. He's like, this is, no matter what, I'm not going to change. This is going to happen. Day 56, Looksmaxxing till it works. That's what I get with Amorim. Like, they're not winning games. They're like scraping by sometimes. I mean, the Rashford stuff, which is really what we said we want to talk about. That is another example of like, I don't think you're in the future of this team. So
yeah, I don't think. For reference, he said, "I'll get the extra." Or we'll play the clip here.
Yeah, play the clip because it's a good clip.
It's the same. It's always the same reason. So,
What is that reason?
the reason is the training, the way I see what a footballer should do in training, in life, and is every detail. So if things don't change, I will not change.
So if he's still there after the window closes, the same situation?
It's the same situation for every player. If you do the maximum, if you do the right things, we can use every player. And you can see it today on the bench. We miss a little bit like pace to go, to change the game, to move some pieces. But I prefer like that. I will put Vital before I put a player that don't give the maximum every day. So I will not change in that department.
It's a mad thing to say, but I think the worst of it is it's like so easily could have just not said that incredibly insulting thing about a player who's still there and a player who you're actively trying to sell. Don't be saying he's bad in training. No one's going to want to buy him.
Yeah, and for anybody who doesn't know, the person he referenced there, Vital, is the goalkeeping coach.
Yes, he's in his 60s.
Yeah. So I'll play the goalkeeping coach before I play Rashford. Or anybody who I don't like.
Yeah. Anyone who's not currently playing, there's only one. Yeah.
Well, within the clip where he says, like, and we needed pace today.
Don't say that.
My favorite pace. And we could have used him if he wasn't so uncommitted to this team. That's what I mean. Like, he's not thinking, no, I need to be political here because I might need him, or, I might need to sell him and that might affect my transfer board. He's like, I don't think he's going to be playing for me, and I'm going to tell us this. He's not going to play. I don't think his attitude's enough. He says he's playing really hard in training, but I don't believe him. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think he wants to be here. And look, again, it's not whether he's right or not.
Yeah, it's inviting scrutiny and trouble, which you already have enough of as a manager of Man United. You don't need any more. Never say anything. We say it the whole time if you're a manager. Don't give them anything. I
was wondering, Will, because I think on the last Ultra episode, we were talking briefly about Osimhen. And we're like, yeah, it could be like an Osimhen situation, that kind of thing. I don't actually know the details of, like, I know there was a falling out. I know there was some kind of, like, whatever. But, like, that's a league that I don't watch. But he was a big star. So you kind of hear, like, get wind of it. And depending on the way the wind's blowing, you could have an opinion like, yeah, I think he was, like, really bad guy to work with, or I think that manager was just, like, a bastard. Do you think Amorim was getting like wind of like this crazy Rashford situation and Ten Hag at Man United. And I think Rashford's the problem, I think, you know. So I think he was going in with like this kind of preconceived idea of Rashford going in. Because like, I don't know why he seems to be so gung-ho and like, no, he's done. He's his attitude, it's just not good. He's not playing.
It's so strange because remember he had that quote as well from the start of the or from when Ruben first came in, and he was like, "I watch everything, the way they train, the way they dress, the way they eat." I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, the way he dresses.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I feel like it's because the first week was like new week, new life, and all that. But there seems to be no new life, no new revive for Marcus Rashford, despite anything. I mean, unless he is just coming in like laces untied.
Well, if he's been told they're trying to sell him and they're actively trying to get rid of him, it's like, yeah, well, why would I try in training right now? Like, risk injury, ruin the move, and be stuck here for the rest of my life? No, thanks.
Yeah, but what move though? If you got your manager coming out being like, he sucks, everybody, he absolutely sucks.
That's the thing as well. It's like, there's no way the board wanted him to say that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's like a personal thing almost, because it just, you know, to be saying like, we could have used him if, you know, I liked him, but I don't.
I'm actively making the team worse, he said. Yeah,
out of spite. You know, I'd pay the goalkeeping coach for it, pay that guy.
I'd play my friend.
So yeah, it's I'm not sure what the goal is here, and it's just when you're like playing that badly and not winning games. You know, if you were a real conspiracy, if you really want to get your tinfoil hat on, you'd say he wants to go back to Sporting.
Yeah. He started this, he said, "Not for me, don't like this."
Yeah, if you wanted to get sacked, but without looking like you're trying to get sacked, I think this is how you would do it. You would start a public war of words with the local lad who's done good, you know, continually losing games. You know, I don't know. It's just it's a very strange one, and like I know we still talk about them, but like they're really just they're really bad these days.
Yeah, I mean it's funny, they're on a good run at the moment, but every game has been by the skin of their teeth, or like a 10-minute Ahmad hat-trick. It's just like none of this is planned or from any of the management. Like it's just craziness.
I do think they will get out of the relegation battle, but they may or not be in. Tottenham, on the other hand, I don't know, Will. I don't know.
No, I don't. Like, we always say that thing. And again, they are like 6 or 7 points clear. And for relegation teams, getting 7 points is fucking nearly impossible. But I don't see Spurs getting 7 points anytime soon. Do you?
It's harder for me to see them getting a win as Wolves, honestly. You know,
they lost to Leicester. Leicester are one of the teams that are finding it hard to get points.
Yeah, that's it. That was a genuine 6-pointer. Yeah, I mean, Jamie Vardy loves playing Spurs because of how much he hates them, I think.
I don't know. He loves playing a lot of teams, though, I think. I think he really likes playing, as we saw from the celebration. He loves playing a team that were kind of around where Leicester were for a few years. You know what I mean? Because he can give it to them. He can say, "We won it and you fucking didn't."
Is that the second time he's done that to Tottenham?
That is the second time he's done that.
I thought I was getting some deja vu. It was like, this has happened before. Or am I stuck in the Matrix? What's going on?
We should find what episode we talked about that in and just play that here.
Yeah, we'll give it to one of our 10 unpaid interns to do that job for us. I have no idea when he did that. I mean, again, not that hard. You can look up when he did it, find the date, find the podcast episode. Hopefully we didn't skip that week. Which we may have.
Good point. We might have missed it, yeah. Oh, that was on a Wednesday and we were gone.
But yeah, he did the classic points to the... Like, he was running away celebrating and then stopped. But, oh yeah, I remember what I was going to do when I scored. And he just points to the Premier League on his shirt and says, 1 for me, 0 for you. Well, I don't know who it is who's like furiously dragging him away. Like, don't do this. You know,
you're only going to make them angry.
We can't afford to lose you for the next game. Yeah, I don't know about Tottenham. The injuries are still there. Ange is still, again, at the time of recording, Ange,
we've been checking
not been sacked.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the clip at the end of the game of Daniel Levy looking down at the Tottenham players and manager very sternly and silently, as if to say, how could you do this to me? After all the players I didn't sign.
Well, this is it. I mean, like, it's gone on so long now. Like, when the team is the way it is, with injuries or whatever you want to say. I mean, even at the start of the season, maybe they could have done with a few more reinforcements. If you're a manager coming into this, like, there's a genuine chance of getting relegated with Tottenham.
Yes, they're genuine. Like, if the players don't come back soon, they're in trouble.
So it's gone too far now. Like they are, I think, maybe stuck with Postecoglou, and if they get rid of him, then they'll be stuck with just whatever the assistant manager team of. Who's the assistant manager again?
Ryan Mason.
The guy Ryan Mason will just take it up again.
Carabao Cup finalist as a manager, of course.
He is there like Frank Lampard, just always ready to take on the job on an interim basis and do a job for the lads. But like, no, like they're not going to get anybody else to take it on and turn around. I honestly don't think like even Sam Allardyce can come back and save this.
No, because you don't want to be the manager who accidentally relegated Spurs. You know what I mean? If Ange goes and you come in, they're going to say he was manager when they got relegated. I think it was his fault. No one's going to say it was Ange.
They'll remember he was a manager got sacked, but the pictures, the haunting images will be of you on the sideline at the end, shaking hands with whoever who's beating you 5-0,
David Moyes.
Put you down. Yeah, fucking Graham Potter, you know, whoever it is who's beating you 5-0, put you down. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're gonna have to try and figure something out.
I think it's literally just a matter of waiting it out and hopefully getting somebody back, get them back one at a time until they have some semblance of their starting 11 again. I will say, spare a thought for poor Dominic Solanke, who if he had just done nothing in the summer, he'd be flying it in the Premier League right now with Bournemouth. He'd be up top for them. And instead he's like, they've swapped in the table nearly.
Well, have Bournemouth spent their money wisely?
That's true. I don't know. Who did they get in this season? Did they get in Semenyo this season? Or has he been there quietly being good?
I just give the ball to Solanke this whole time, not do anything himself.
It was all about Solanke before. Let me see.
They brought in Evan Nielsen for 27 million.
Mm-hmm. Who was good, but he got injured.
They brought in Lewis-Skelly from Leeds for 23 million. And they brought in centre back Enes Unal, 16 million, from Getafe, and Dean Hudson, centre back for 50 million. I don't know if any of those players were playing for them recently. Hudson was centre back, but none of the rest of them were playing. So yeah, I mean, look, I guess you're right, Will. He did make a huge mistake.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not really fair because, you know, he did everything right. You go to Bournemouth, you score regularly with Bournemouth. You get on a Tottenham's radar. You start scoring regularly for Tottenham. Who knows where you go next then? But it's just like, nope, it's all backwards now. No one wants to go to Spurs anymore.
Yeah. No, like I say, it's a very unappealing prospect for a manager or player. So they're just waiting it out, hoping that they get some players back and then they go on a run. I mean, they played 22 games or so? Yeah, all you need to do is win like 4 games in the end. And if they had their full squad back, they would do that.
Exactly.
You know? But like, that's the season. As a Tottenham fan, like, you know, it's just like, best case scenario, we get the players back, we go on a run, and we finish 12th. You know, happy days. You know, worst case scenario, you get relegated. Like that. It's January. It's a long way till May if that's what your prospects are.
That is a bad worst case scenario. It's very rare any of the so-called like top 6 or the Super League clubs, whereas it's normally like worst case scenario, 7th. And maybe we would get to the final of the Europa League. This time, Spurs could get to the final of the Europa League. They could win the Carabao Cup, but again, they could be relegated in the grander schemes, which would be amazing. An amazing end to the Tottenham can't win a trophy story if they were to get relegated in the same season.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the most Tom thing ever or not, because it's, you know, there's obviously a trophy in there, which is what people hold against them. But yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know what to say about this.
It's mad.
It's mad. And like I say, you're waiting for the news to come in, but I think at this point we've gone past the time where you could have got rid of Postecoglou. Was there anything else then? Any other big results? We've gone through the
That's the Premier League.
the guys at the top, the guys at the bottom. That's your Premier League roundup, folks. I guess some continental news, Will, and news from my absolute about Kylian Mbappé. He's storming up the La Liga goal scoring ranks. Another hat-trick at the weekend against I saw a great headline, against relegation haunted Valencia.
Spurs are relegation haunted.
Yeah. There's a few teams in the Premier League who are relegation haunted. Valencia to be in the same boat. Mbappe scored some unbelievable goals. So he scored a hat-trick, as I mentioned. But he's back to his moving too fast for his legs. I think we said that before in the World Cup.
Yeah. Because we watched the highlights there before this. It felt like you were watching, I don't even know how to describe it. I've never seen a player move like this. He was literally, in the time one player would run in a straight line, he was like duking and jiving and turning left and right and readjusting his run to stay on side. It was madness. He's so quick. And it looks like he's locked in. He's ready now.
He's back. He's got 15 goals in 19 league games. He's got 21 goals for the season. Real Madrid are looking very strong. Favourites, I think, for the Champions League. If I had to guess, I would say they're probably up there. Them and Liverpool are probably favourites.
It's tough to tell because they're low in the group stage thing, but again, what does that mean? Surely once it gets to the knockouts is where Real Madrid will become Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think you'll see this as the Champions League goes on. People take the first few games off, and then they'll lock in after Christmas. Because the City, as bad again as City have been, they could go through despite it all. They
have to beat Club Brugge at home, which they should.
Yeah, so especially after their Chelsea win, they'll be up for it, way up for it.
You'd feel for Club Brugge who are watching that thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, why couldn't we play them during the 11-game run?
Any other time of the Champions League, we would have won. So yeah, look, Mbappe, so he could do the double, Will. He could be a double in his first season, a golden boot, and all that stuff at the start of the season was just, I don't know.
I feel like there's a trend, there's something we're learning, where actually in football, the common story is the story. The most obvious thing is the thing. And like all of the twists and turns, they eventually just fizzle out back into the regular thing.
Yeah. I think he was always like under pressure because of coming from PSG. It's the Farmers League. You can't shake that kind of tag. It's like, well, that wasn't a real challenge for you. Like, how good is it? Have we seen it? And then the World Cup was different, of course. But it was all bollocks. Because when you watch him in the eyes, you go, yeah, he is a good player. I knew he was a good player.
I knew he was fast and clinical.
Yeah, I knew he could kick a ball pretty good. I knew that. It doesn't really matter what league he was playing in. I could tell. So yeah, he's up there. He's still fighting Robert Lewandowski, who's 10 years older than him. He has 17 goals. But I've said this, Will, he's going to slow down a little bit. Barcelona's slowing down. He's going to have to slow down a little bit as well. So yeah, I think it's the Ballon d'Or's end of the season, isn't
it? Yeah, they do one every end of the season now, I think.
There's like 6 awards now. There used to be like 1. And then they decided European Best Player of the Year award. And then I was like, okay, what's this one? And then it's like, Golden Boy.
The FIFA Pro Man of the Year. Yeah.
Yeah, it's there's too many now. But yeah, he's going well. We don't have to play France again. Ireland, do we? Anytime soon?
I'm sure we do, but not that I know of. They're not in our group for the World Cup qualifiers.
Let's not worry about Ireland right now. Let's just wait till that happens.
For once.
Yeah, let's just not think about that right now. Yeah, that's about it, I would say, Will. I think that's everything I want to talk about. Well, actually, if anybody's interested, I had a terrible weekend.
Oh, really? Fire away.
with the storm and whatnot, Will.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was rough, wasn't it? We did Storm Pod and then it all kicked off.
I know. I was listening back to the Storm Pod, and as I was flippantly talking about the storm, and I was like, well, maybe you should have prepared a little better. Maybe you should have been so such a funny man about the storm,
Maybe you shouldn't have been doing a podcast at the start of the storm.
Maybe you should have been getting a gas canister for some heat. Funny man. Yeah, we're in I guess it's a relatively new building. So obviously no chimney. Not them. I got no stove. got no gas. It's just electricity. So when electricity goes, no heat.
It all goes.
So yeah, like it had started like 2 or 3 in the morning, and you could hear it. It was like you could hear things getting like ripped up and stuff. Like
that doesn't sound good.
hear the tiles that being ripped off the roof, and yeah. But I was like, yeah, well, you know, nothing I can do about it here. I may as well just go back to bed, and then woke up whatever, like normal-ish time, 7-ish, and checked the phone. 80% hadn't fully charged. Like, yeah, okay, so went out in the middle of the night, no signal, no internet. I was like, well, I guess I'm off work today, you know, back to bed. Well, like, you know, you get up, you're like, yeah, I'll get up and just see what's going on. And like, it's very, very windy still, and it's freezing, and there's no way of warming yourself, and you can't leave the house. Like, all right, well, and I have no radios. I had no radio, so I was completely cut off from the outside world for like the first, till about maybe 11. And then it was like, right, let's get in the car and turn on the radio, see if we hear any updates, you know.
Like an apocalypse.
It was quite apocalyptic, Will. I won't lie. It did kind of feel like I would actually die in this scenario, you know, if it
yeah. It's in a post like internet and phone world. Yeah, the act of actually finding out what's going on. How do you do that?
Yeah, it was kind of like, I'm just going to sit here and wait for it to come back on. But then, like, the creeping feeling of, like, what if it doesn't come back on? Like, I got to find out.
Yeah, what if this is it? This was the one.
So then, like, after the red weather warning ended, and, like, one went for a drive, and, like, there was, like, trees down the road. We had to turn back multiple times. But we eventually got into Galway City. And because, I guess, a lot of the wires are underground, they were largely unaffected. So like we went in to like Dunn's, and like there was a KFC there. It was mauled with people. It was like a zombie film when they were just like people climbing over chairs and stuff, pushing and shoving. Went into Dunn's, and like they had like fully stocked and stuff, and people just like on their phone. Like it was very unsettling because everyone's just like acting normal. Like, this isn't normal. Back where I live, 15 minutes away, like there's nothing. There's no lights. Nothing. And of course, like the generators then eventually would end. So the water treatment plant had to shut down. So now we have no water. I think we still have no water. So yeah, it was pretty harrowing stuff. Although I did manage to get a little station up with tea lights. So we were cooking stuff on the tea lights. But yeah, it was quite a humbling little weekend I had, you know?
Yeah, it is. It's funny how quickly all it takes is just one thing to go, like one switch to be gone. It's like, oh, I have nothing anymore.
Yeah. And the worst thing, I think the worst news came today when I went back into work, and I got my my daily phone usage screen time. Just to show how much I use my phone on the weekends, probably like checking Twitter and fucking scores and stuff.
Yeah.
I use my phone.
Whatever.
And this literally has gone for like a day on Friday, because he went to Sarah's parents' house then after that for electricity and stuff, you know. So one day I've not used my phone. I used my phone 4 hours and 26 minutes less than last week. So I'm fucked, Will. You know, if the brain rot doesn't take me, the apocalypse will. You know, I'm really unprepared for life past this point.
At the next storm, we'll know. We'll be broadcasted live from the bunker. That's where we'll be.
Yeah. Well, honestly, when I was thinking about this, I was like, damn, you know, I wish I had the snow, or Will had this, you know, because we got no snow, but at least you had your phone.
I've had a sick year.
Yeah. So look, hope everyone stayed safe. No one's swimming or anything like that, and you're all weren't too affected by the trees coming down. But you'll be happy to know that I survived. Through sheer power of will, I mean, just sitting and waiting for it to come back, I survived.
I'm sure they were worried up until the 58th minute of the show and said, is this live? Is this a recording from before he died? I need to know.
That would, if you were actually a fan of the show, that would suck, because you did never find out if we died, like, you know.
Oh yeah, you'd never know.
Because I'm not paying €100 to put an RP.ie, so like you'd never find out. Like, you know, there'd be no news about it. No news publishing would report it.
The episodes would just stop, and you'd go, "Are they dead, or did they just give it up?" I'll never know.
Yeah, and we'd never resurface any other podcasts, even if we did just stop. So you'd never know if one of us does die. Like, I'm not going to come on here and talk about it. I'll be too sad. So it would just end, and that'd be it. So next storm, if we don't come back. Good chance, folks. Good chance.
It's over. Yep. We're waiting.
Touch wood, of course. Touch wood. Anyways, speaking of being back, we'll be back during the week because more Champions League. We got the second, the last game, the final group game of the Champions League this week. Got to be an ultra to partake in that. Link in the description of this episode. Join now, $4.50 a month, and you get all Champions League, any midweek action, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, if not, give us a 5-star rating on Spotify or a review on Apple or wherever you listen to this.
The least Cathal deserves the least Cathal. What's the saying? What am I trying to say?
I don't know, man.
It's the least you.
The least I deserve?
That doesn't sound
That's
right.
what it's going to mean. I survived a storm,
What
Will.
am I trying to say? Yeah, that's what I mean. He earned it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Pity me and my lack of electricity for 24 hours. I would say.
Send your stars to light Cathal's home.
Yeah.
He needs it for power.
I need electricity. I need a yellow screen. So I need 5 stars on Spotify to light my house. Yeah, we'll be back next week with more action. For the Ultras, we'll see you Friday for Champions League review. Yeah, that's about it. Have a great week.
Yeah, have a good week. Play us out, Men's Terror Cypher from Korea. Big fans of the show.
Yeah.
비어친 자취방 기본이 5237 내 번호 뒷자리 비어친 등에 있는 나비 문신 오른쪽 허벅지에 레터링 네 여친 존나게 쩔더라 하루 종일 안 쉬고 하더라 아랫집에서 올라오더라 네 여친도 달아오르더라.
It's funny because when I heard that, I was like, I thought Will made the music himself. I thought you had made all.
I did. They fucking took my sample. That's what they did.
They took your sample?
Royalty-free. Well, no, it's from a pack.
Oh.
It's from a royalty-free pack, that guitar bit.
Right.
And the little, yeah. And then they used
They
it as well.
copy strike us because they use your sample.
By the way, Cathal, every single one of our videos on YouTube is copyright.
Every one
now because but sure, the music's in every one.
And what are YouTube saying? What are the YouTube police saying? Are we in trouble?
No, so we have to appeal it. So if we ever want to monetize the channel, we'll have to appeal each one of them one by one. Which, I mean, how many episodes is there?
Okay, do you have a number
the
for...
Men's Terror Cypher have really fucked us.
Do you have a number for Lord Panic?
너게 걸어 꿈은 문처럼 열고 닫고 할 수 있는 게 아니야 하늘의 문처럼 매일 밤마다 보겠어 터덜터덜 걷던 거리가 이제 눈이 부시게 빛나 좀 더 밝은 모습을 거울에서 볼 수 있을까 By the way let me know 난 이 세계로 가두고 소리 for everybody 벨 앞에 Baby 물론 maybe